Hey guys, I am DC, your host of Barside Jive Live. We are happy that you chose to hang out here with us at the very cool Vocal Studios in Dallas, Texas this evening. This show happens at 7:30 p.m. Central Standard Time every Thursday and features some of the very best original singer-songwriters in the U.S. of A. By the way, you can now follow my shows on Apple iTunes, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Stitcher, Twitch, Spreaker, Google Play, TuneIn, and Deezer. Whoa, it's a mouthful. Let's make this simple, guys. Anywhere you find cool content, Barside Jive is there. In fact, if you happen to be listening to me as a podcast, audio only, you can view us right now by going to vocalnow.com, and vocal is misspelled intentionally with a K, VOKALNOW.com. Just look at the top of the app or the top of the browser. You'll see Barside Jive Live. There's where you need to be. Also, all of my content is on demand on my YouTube channel, Barside Jive Live. Barside Jive is also sponsored by the legendary
The Zoo.
On Vocal.
It's all about classic rock here at the Zoo. Can be streamed 24/7, 365 at vocalnow.com. Tonight I have singer-songwriter Tyson Leslie in the studio, but first, Neil Diamond reworked Sweet Caroline without the hand touching. That's right, guys. COVID-19 has affected us all. Neil Diamond has updated his classic song, Sweet Caroline, in response to the ongoing coronavirus pandemic. According to Neil, I know we're going through a rough time right now, but I love you. The singer stated in a video posted to social media, I think maybe if we sing together, well, we'll just feel a little bit better. Give it a try, okay? The Rock and Roll Hall of Famer, seen comfortably sitting by a fireside, then began strumming his acoustic guitar, launching into a rendition to his classic 1969 hit. I can't believe that song's from 1969. Man, it makes me feel old. God. But as the song reached its famous chorus, Diamond revealed updated lyrics to reflect modern times. Instead of hands touching hands, reaching out, touching me, touching you, he sang hands washing hands, reaching out, don't touch me, I won't touch you. Right, Jay? Don't touch me, I won't touch you. Right, Jay?
All right, will do.
Like, when I pass Jay down the hall, we're like 20 feet apart because he like hugs the wall just so he's not even anywhere close to me. But that's okay, Jay. I understand. It only runs so deep. This isn't the first time. This song has received increased spotlight during the coronavirus outbreak. Early in the pandemic's news cycle, memes using Sweet Caroline's famous lyrics appeared all over Twitter and Facebook. Diamond originally penned Sweet Caroline in 1969, releasing it as a single later that year. It peaked at number 4 on the Billboard Hot 100 chart and has since maintained a continuous place in pop culture via cover versions, appearances in TV and movies, and use by many major sports teams. The rocker retired from touring in 2018 due to his battle with Parkinson's disease, though he continues working on projects, including an upcoming musical. Can't wait for that. In a separate tweet, Diamond took the time to honor the many unsung heroes fighting COVID-19 and its effect on society. He said, "Thank you, healthcare workers, first responders, supermarket employees, food service and utility workers, delivery drivers, and everyone out there who is on the front lines to keep everyone safe," the rocker proclaimed. We applaud you. Do you guys want to see Neil's updated version of Sweet Caroline?
Yeah! Hi, everybody. This is Neil Diamond, and I know we're going through a rough time right now, but I love you. And I think maybe if we sing together, well, we'll just feel a little bit better. Give it a try, okay? Where it began, I can't begin to knowing. then I know it's growing strong. Wasn't the spring, and spring became the summer. Who'd have believed you'd come along? Hands, washing hands, reaching out. Don't touch me, I won't touch you. Sweet Caroline, good times never seem so good. I've been inclined to believe they never would, but now I look at the night and it don't seem so lonely. We fill it up with only two. And when I hurtin' runs off my shoulders. How can I hurt when I'm holding you? Hands, washing hands, reaching out. Don't touch me, I won't touch you. Sweet Caroline, good times never seem so good. I've been inclined to believe they never would. Sweet Caroline. Good night, everybody. Good night. We love you.
Happy trails, Neil Diamond. God, that guy's gone. All right. Also, Tesla have become the latest band to change tour plans as a result of the coronavirus pandemic, postponing a run of North American shows that were set to take place starting next month. The concerts were scheduled to run from April 10th through May 1. The tour is now being rescheduled for the fall. Due to the current concerns regarding COVID-19, the health and safety of our fans, local venue staffs, as well as the health and safety of our band and crew is of utmost priority, the band said in a statement. They noted that tickets would be honored for the new dates, which would be announced very soon. A total of around 395,807 cases of COVID-19 have been currently confirmed worldwide, with 17,235 that have passed away and 103,748 that have recovered. That's a good number. Yeah. The total infections have reached 46,168 in the U.S., with deaths only totaling 582. Let's keep that number low, guys. Let's keep it low. Meanwhile, former Judas Priest guitarist KK Downing said that his new band, KK's Priest, managed to avoid changing plans for their debut album as the disease continued to spread. We are moving ahead, full steam ahead, he said. Thankfully, Ripper Owens finished all the tracks and got home to Ohio safely before the travel restrictions started. And I have to say, I'm so excited. His vocals are classic Ripper Priest and then some. I have always considered you as part of my large extended family, and as I always say, family comes first. We all have to do everything we can to ensure that our families, our friends, our neighbors, work, colleagues, everyone remains safe, healthy, and comfortable. Together, we will survive these uncertain few months, and we cannot wait to get back out on the road and bring our music to you all in every corner of the globe. Former Iron Maiden singer Blaze Bayley, who's previously discussed his mental health issues, offered his personal advice to remaining positive during the pandemic. The key thing to survival is a positive mental attitude and never giving up. If we're all in this together, then let's try and get through it together. He added that humans have evolved naturally to be happy creatures most of the time. When you're happy, your immunity works great. So listening to your favorite songs, watching comedy, film, and things like that you do makes you feel good and distracts you from the stress that we're all under. That's a really healthy good. Having those brief moments of happiness and trying to put aside all the stress and tragedy of what we're going through is one way to keep ourselves going and fight this terrible virus. Guys, that will wrap my rock news for this Thursday. If you like my rock music news, then my Tuesday and Thursday 7:30 p.m. shows are the place to be. If you like rock and roll history, then turn on and tune into my Daily Dose of Rock Music by checking out my Daily Dose playlist on YouTube. Find it by searching Barside Jive Live.
Yeah, my only tea.
My live music showcase is sponsored by Hip and Hippie. Hip and Hippie is a planet-loving company known for its high-quality, earth-friendly, 100% recyclable candle line and natural body care products. It's no wonder eco-supporting people love Hip and Hippie, hipandhippie.com. My guest today is Tyson Leslie. Tyson has been playing professionally in live music venues all over the U.S. and globally since 1988. I didn't realize he was that old. Originally from Kansas City, Tyson migrated to Nashville to pursue his dream, further to be in a touring act, and upon living there for 3 months, he landed the keyboard spot for 90s country superstar Tracy Lawrence. Previous to his tenure with Lawrence, he performed with the Corey Taylor of the heavy metal juggernaut Slipknot and Stone Sour. He has since been the keyboardist for late 80s hard rock, all-female sensation Vixen, and is still touring the world with them. That's not a bad gig, I'm sure.
Not at all.
Not at all. In addition to touring work, he has been a dueling pianist since 2012. Leslie has performed on the Kid Rock Cruise, the Kiss Cruise, the Megadeth Cruise, and the Rob Gronkowski Cruise, among others. That's a lot of cruises. He has worked alongside members of Taylor Swift's band, Beyonce's band, Kelly Clarkson's band, Florida Georgia Line, and a giant laundry list of other musicians that we've all seen either in concert or on our television sets at home. Tyson released a solo album in 2013 and plans to release a brand new body of work in 2020. That'd be this year, Tyson.
I know. I got time to work on stuff.
Well, you do now, yeah, right? So when Tyson isn't on the road, you can often see him performing between 6 to 7 nights a week. Well, it used to anyway, before coronavirus, on Lower Broadway in Nashville, or performing at a dueling piano bar somewhere in the country. And tonight you can see him right here on Barside Jive Live. So I'd like to welcome Tyson Leslie to Barside Jive Live.
Well, thank you.
Hey, Tyson, how are you?
I'm great. It's good to be here.
Good, man. It's good to have you on. Yeah, it's. I guess I met you. It's been a couple of years. You guys were playing at Choctaw Casino up in Durant, Oklahoma, right?
Right.
Yeah, and I had an interview that you helped me with Cher Ross, and the original bass player. In fact, I guess Cher and Roxy would be the only two remaining original members, right?
Yes, that's correct.
Yeah. So that's when I first met Tyson. He was such a great guy and such a big help, and I just thought he was awesome. So I thought it'd be very cool to have him on the show. He's done so much in the world of music. Tell me how this music thing got started for you, and I want you to go way back to the beginning.
Well, the beginning is being. My mom claims that I started playing piano when I was about 3 years old. Just
Wow.
I got a little like a little toy organ or keyboard or something like that when I was a kid, and
Right.
was kind of earing my way through Mary Had a Little Lamb and things like that, and just kind of being able to play those kinds of things by ear. And so I think I started taking actual lessons around first grade with a lady up the street playing some classical music and things of that nature, and or eventually leading into classical music. You know, obviously the baby step things that everybody else does to learn an instrument. And then I would say when I was around 9 or 10 years old, I entered a talent contest in Greeley, Colorado, where I actually originally kind of grew up. I spent time there until '88,
Mm.
and I won that contest in my division and took the money that I got from that contest and bought my first guitar, because at that point I had really kind of had the bug of bands like Quiet Riot and Twisted Sister and Motley Crue and all those kind of bands. Kind of that was my thing. Plus, also like at the same time, like Prince and Michael Jackson and all that stuff was really huge too. So,
Right.
and MTV was still, music, and really that was hugely influential. Watching videos all the time and sitting in front of the TV every Saturday night watching Headbangers Ball and getting into that type of stuff.
Right.
And
Very
so
cool.
eventually that led me into when I was in high school, joining band, putting my first band together, joining other people's bands and things like that. And I had a band when it started when I moved back to Kansas City, because I'd kind of bounced around for a few years and then ended up back in Kansas City, and had a band called Alienation at the time, in like 92, 91, 92, around then. And that's when we started playing bars and playing places that I wasn't even really old enough to be in. And there was a couple places. There's a place called the Lone Star in Kansas City, and we would have to wait outside until about 5 minutes before we went on stage, then go in, hurry up and set up, sound check as fast as you can, play our set, which was probably like 30 minutes. It wasn't very long at all. And then get the hell out of there. They wouldn't let us sit around and watch the cool headliners at all because we weren't old enough to be in there.
Right. Right.
So that was kind of a bummer at the time. I remember sitting outside the Lone Star one time listening to Cinderella, listening to Mr. Big playing, but I
Oh
couldn't go in, so I
man.
just had to hear it from
Oh
outside.
man. That sucks.
Yeah, but
Wow.
eventually it's funny though, because full circle later on in my life, we're playing with all these guys, and these guys that I grew up listening to are like my friends now. And it's really surreal, but it's pretty awesome too.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Absolutely it is. So how many instruments do you play, Tyson?
I don't know. I've never actually sat and counted, but I mean, as far as instruments that I play well or instruments that I would go on stage um, without being, okay, this might suck. I basically play all the stuff you would see in a rock band. So keyboards, guitar, bass guitar, drums, and then sing a lot.
Right.
I mean,
Right.
I've got other things like I've got like a fretted violin that I haven't touched in forever, and an accordion that I can get and usually if it has strings, I can work my way around it and figure it out. Like I've got a ukulele, and I learned that pretty quickly. My son brought one over when he came here to visit one time, and so I kind of figured it out, and then I ended up buying one of my own, and actually used it in a couple of different songs that I was working on for other people.
Mhm.
And I've got like a 6-string banjo, but I don't have like a 5-string authentic. I don't. I still need to pick one of those things up so I can learn how to do that a little bit better. So that's pretty much the gist of. I mean, I'm not good at brass instruments at all. I can't do trumpets and trombones and things like that, but I can get my way around the sax. I just need to spend more time practicing so I could actually, get out and play it for real, because it's not that great
Right.
right now.
Have you found the versatility, your ability to play a number of different instruments has given you a versatility? I mean, that's a real asset, right, in this
Yeah,
business.
that's given me a lot of gigs. It's also, I guess, from what I gather, is kind of, I don't know, pissed people off too.
Oh,
and
yeah?
I'm not trying to do it on purpose, but it's like there was a big thread going around a little while back on Facebook about somebody had mentioned that I was hogging up a bunch of gigs and stuff because I could play multiple instruments and getting calls for those kind of instruments when the other people could be, which, I mean, I guess there's a little bit of truth to that, but I mean,
Oh,
I wasn't.
man.
They were calling me. I wasn't out there chasing after it. And
Right.
if they're gonna call me, and I'm gonna take it if I'm available, because that's how I make a living. Especially here in Nashville, it's
Oh, yeah.
I don't have any other job. I don't. So it's just like if I have a gig come available and I'm available, I'm gonna take it.
Yeah.
Because that's how I feed the family and all that kind of stuff.
Well, yeah, it's dog eat dog out there.
Yeah.
Hey, you guys just had some really severe weather. People,
We
it's
did.
just a horrible storm and tornadoes and such. How's the city recovering from your perspective?
Slowly, because right in the middle of trying to, even assess the whole situation. I mean, I had 3 friends lose their house.
Mm.
My very favorite venue in town is gone. It was the Basement East. We played lots of great shows there, and I was about to host another show of mine at the in the middle of this month. Like, actually, it was supposed to be last Monday, and we moved the show because the venue's gone, and now all the cleanup has been halted because, I mean, not all of it, but a lot of the cleanup and rebuilding and stuff has been put on hold because of all the stuff that's going on in the world.
Right.
So it's a weird time, but we definitely got double whammied here in Nashville in a bad way.
Yeah, lots of there's loss of life as well as a lot of property damage, injuries.
Yeah.
Just it affected, I guess, the whole community there. So we're sorry. We're still praying for you guys there in Nashville. And hey,
Thanks.
let's turn this around and let's show them what you got. Okay,
Okay,
let's play one.
sounds good.
Okay, here he is, Tyson Leslie, right here on Barside Jive Live.
The thing in her nose brings all the nerds clocks wherever she goes. Always has a face buried in a baby grand, writing songs that say, hey ho, Mumford and Sand. Who really cares? We're all so free. It doesn't make a difference to you and me. We're up all night 'cause we wanna get laid. We drink up all your wine as we cradle to the grave.
We're back. That was Tyson Leslie here on Barside Jive Live. Tyson, so tell me, I have a lot of new talent on my shows, a lot.
Okay.
And what is the best advice, based upon all your experience, that you would give someone trying to break into the business?
I would just say, be a nice person. I mean, you can be a good player, or you can be a great player, actually, especially in this town. I mean, I'm sure this works everywhere, but definitely in Nashville, if you treat people well and you're a good player and you're fun to get along with and everything, then you're gonna get the gig faster than the guy who can play circles around you probably, but is kind of a pain in the ass or is difficult to work with. If you've watched the movie Hired Gun, I just watched that again a couple days ago,
Yeah.
and Rob Zombie reflects on that, and he talks about that too. He's just like, man, I'd rather get, because it's true. Like you have to engage in relationships with the people that you're working with. It's essentially like you're almost kind of like in a marriage with these folks, and so whether it's on a tour bus, and it's even worse if you're on a bus, like you're living with these people day in and day out all the time,
Right.
and so that kind of close quarters or whatever. That's also, I think it's also why you hear how there's so much band drama all the time, and different among bands or whatever, because they have to just be around each other all the time.
Right. It's
And
like a
things-
family.
Yeah, and things get, things can get heated and they can get whatever, just like anything else.
Right.
But in our business, what I found, at least in my personal experience, to answer your question, is that my reputation means everything, and so I always try to keep that in mind and make sure that whether it's Rob Halford or whether it's the guy that's working the door, or the guy that's working, helping me with merch, or the guy that's running sound, or anybody like that. Just even if they're having a day and they don't treat you as maybe the way you want to treat them, you just kind of have to brush it off and try to be nice to them, and I think the bottom line is you have to go into the gigs serving the people that you're working for. So if you go in with like a how can I help you mentality, as opposed to what's in it for me mentality, it's going to completely change your future, and it's going to enable you to have a lot more opportunity because people remember that kind of stuff. And like, for example, I don't know how much truth there is to this, but like with a band like Florida Georgia Line, huge country act, some buddies of mine from Kansas City play in that band, and I remember the story kind of goes like, well, when those two guys, the main guys in FGL, were just playing clubs, playing acoustic stuff and whatever, one of the guys brought them coffee on a bad day and hung around and just kind of jammed with them, and they remembered that when it came time to put a band together and whatever, and they reached out to said coffee guy, and was like, hey, we need guys, and that's kind of how that happened. It's just there's things like that, even if that's not 100% true, like that, it's things like that can make you memorable to people. Like Alice Cooper in that same movie said, we know the guys that are good, like
Right.
that it's just, we're aware of who's out there, the people that are good at what they do and that have good reputations or whatever. That word gets around in our community really, really quickly. And the other thing about our world is it's really, really small. Like it seems like it's huge, but it's not. I mean, you got to consider all the bands that are really popular and really famous. There's really that's an actual very small percentage of people.
It is.
Compared to all of the people in the world. You know what I mean? There's that.
Well, and it's true. Your reputation really does precede you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good or bad.
Good or
I've
bad.
seen it happen.
Right.
In
both
all
ways.
directions, for sure.
Absolutely. Yeah. So take it from Tyson. First thing you want to do is be nice. Be yourself, but be nice. Number 2, learn to play every freaking instrument you can.
Yeah, well, you mean, or just be good at the one you have. You know,
Yeah.
it doesn't. You don't have to be a multi-instrumentalist. Most people aren't, and
Yeah.
I mean, some people are to a certain degree, but most people like they're really good at guitar. They're really good
Right.
at drums, and sometimes that pays off too because if you're just a drummer, but you're a really good drummer,
Right.
as opposed to me, I can play drums, but if I get a call for a drum gig that's like, you know, really good and requires more than what my ability is, I'm gonna give it to the guy that's
Yeah.
better than me. You
Right.
know what I mean?
Right.
And I'll be like, well, if you need a keyboard player, let me know, because that's an instrument that I know I can come in and just I can kick ass if necessary, if that's what you need.
Right.
But there's also on the other hand of that, there's also a bazillion people out there that are way better than I am on keys and every other instrument, and I can acknowledge that as well. So you kind of have to be just humble with yourself and know your strengths and your limitations. And I think a good rule of thumb is say yes to everything that you get that comes your way, unless you know that you have to say no. And then it's because you don't want to say yes to something that you can't do, and then that makes you look even worse because
Right.
you show up and you can't play, and then now you got a bad reputation. You know what I mean?
Right. Right. Well, Tyson, how lucky do you think that you've been, and why?
I've been very lucky in many cases. I mean, I worked really hard for all of the things that I've gotten, and I've played all the worst clubs and crap. All the crap. Well, I don't know what I can say or can't say here, but
You can say anything you want here, brother.
okay, all right. So yeah, I mean, just shithole clubs all over across the United States, playing for 2 people in Ohio that or whatever, those kinds of shitty gigs, and playing. I remember we played in like what was it? Somewhere up in Minnesota in January, and I'm just like, what? Who booked this bullshit in January? And why am I look like the kid from A Christmas Story with my arms out and my chip trying to load gear into that place because it was so cold. And then we got in there, and there was like we played for like 10 people, and it was just worthless. And it was just like those kind of gigs. And then I don't know, a couple years ago, I played in front of over 100,000 people in Belgium. It was insane.
In where?
Looking at it like that. And
I lost you there. I lost you there for a minute. You played where?
in Belgium,
Oh, okay. Wow.
yeah. So we're playing these European festivals, and you look around left, right, and it's like looking at the ocean, except it's all humans. It's not
Yeah.
water. It's
Yeah.
crazy.
Was that a Vixen gig?
Yeah, that was a Vixen gig.
Yeah. Yeah.
We did a bunch of festivals in Europe a couple of years ago. That was pretty amazing.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm extremely lucky. I'm at the point now. I mean, last year was absolutely, unquestionably, one of the best years of my life, if not, musically definitely was the best year of my life. I mean, I worked with so many of my heroes growing up in so many different capacities. It was totally mind blowing. Like it was the second time last year I did the Monsters of Rock cruise with Vixen, and you go into this artist party and you look around and you're just like, man, every single one of these people used to hang on my wall when I was a kid.
Yeah.
This is really surreal.
Yeah. Like, give us an example of who.
What's that?
Give me an example of who.
Oh, just guys from I don't know, everybody. It's just like Tesla and Extreme. Like I sat there. Nuno Betancourt, which kind of funny, that little earth riff thing you have at the beginning of your show is very Nuno.
Uh-huh.
But I mean, that guy, I sat around working on his riffs forever, and I still can't play him nearly as well as he does. But just being around all those kind of people, like this year I do a show called Rare Hair, and this was the second time to do it, and it's big jam where we get all the as many of the rock star guys together, and I pick a bunch of deep cut like hair metal songs that you used to see on Headbangers Ball. And we had guys from Tesla and Enough's Enough and Black and Blue, and it was just, the list goes on and on, that sat in on my show. The Bullet Boys crashed it and did a couple songs. It was just crazy and super surreal. And a couple of girls from Vixen played it. Just playing in Vixen by itself. I mean, I remember seeing Vixen on Arsenio Hall show when I was a kid.
Yeah.
And just being like, damn, like I was in love with Janet, when I was younger, and now she's like my mom.
Yeah. I know. Hey, brother, I'm the same way. When Vixen showed up, man, it was like, I remember when I first saw them, I was like, okay, I mean, they were it. They, all female band. I mean, it was,
and they were great, and they're great players. They are great players.
Nice ladies too.
And I saw them at Memorial Hall in Kansas City when I was a kid too, and it was, So then I saw them here in Nashville when I was pretty new to town. They did that Farm Rock Festival through here, and so that was the first time I'd seen them since I was, in 8th, 9th grade or whatever grade that was.
Right.
And I would have never known in a million years that the next year I was going to be playing in that band.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Well, go ahead and tell me how that happened, Tyson.
Well, I was going to Target to do some shopping.
I was in the Tupperware department.
I hadn't even gotten into Target. I was in the parking lot, pulling in or pulling out. I don't remember. And my phone lit up, and it was Tony Higbee from Tom Kiefer's band. He's the guitar player from Tom Kiefer's solo band, Tom Kiefer from Cinderella.
Yeah.
And it was weird because I was like, wow, what's he calling me about? I don't really know this guy. I didn't know him at that time. I know him well now, but I didn't know him then, really.
Yeah.
And he calls me and he goes, hey, Sheriff from Vixen called me and they need a keyboard player that can do tour managing duties. Is that something you think you would be interested in doing? And I was like, well, yeah, absolutely. Plus, I had done some tour managing from my old band Pomeroy and stuff like that. So I had a little bit of experience in that world. And even if I didn't, I was like, I'm going to figure it out because I want that gig. And so at some point I got in touch with Cher and then flew down to Florida to her house. And Brittany and I, the new guitar player, we both auditioned together. So we both flew down. We flew down to Cher's place and got there. It was just Cher and Roxy. Janet wasn't there because Janet was she worked a day job, so she couldn't do it. I think we went down there during the week. It was like a Tuesday or Wednesday or something like that in February.
Yeah.
And which was nice to get away from cold Nashville weather and be down in Florida and play with these people that you used to watch on MTV. So that was cool.
Right.
So I just learned the songs. I learned a pretty hard lesson with Tracy Lawrence, and country music wasn't my forte, and even though I really really loved playing with him and enjoyed his music and his band was absolutely incredible, I realized that just wasn't my wheelhouse, and I learned how to prepare better for the next gig, whatever that happened to be.
Right.
In this case, it was Vixen. So I was like, well, I already kind of know some of these songs anyway because I was a fan. So, so I just hunkered down and really got those songs down as best I could. Showed up to Cher's house. We loaded in. And actually, the cameras that we're filming on right now, she had one of those set up and filmed us performing, sent it to Janet. And then we woke up the next day and she was like, well, you guys know you're in the band, right? And we're just like, oh, cool. All right.
Wow. That quick.
We've been there ever since.
Damn. Isn't Cher awesome?
Oh, they're all great. Yeah. And they're, what I love, the other thing about them is the drama level is pretty much none. I mean, everybody gets along. They've been there, done that, and they've done.
Yeah.
They're pros, and it's easy, and it shows. And they all get along with each other. We get along. We just have a blast together, and we just get up and play our shows, and that's what we do.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's a cool story. And again, there you go. That your reputation preceded you, and that's how you wound up.
Like I said, I didn't even really know
Yeah.
Tony yet, and
Yeah.
I'm not even 100% sure. One of these days we're gonna have that conversation as to where he saw me, because I'd sat in with like the rock and roll residency here in Nashville from time to time, so he may have seen me there. And I also played in a band called the Big Rock Show, which is the band that I played the Kid Rock and Kiss cruises with and stuff like that.
Right.
So, and he's kind of in that whole circle of people, and so I can only attribute it to something like that, as to, well, here's a guy that could do that kind of stuff. And
Right.
I'm guessing that Paul Taylor was too busy and some of these other guys. So I'm glad I got the call, because it's been a great experience for me. It still is, and I really I really enjoy playing for them.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's a great group, great band, cool bunch of ladies, and you're the only guy in that band.
I am.
Wow.
Yeah. That's okay.
It's okay.
I'm not complaining about that at all. It's funny because there's a lot of like I don't know how to word this exactly, but there's this kind of unsaid thing among certain people, like that my gig is kind of not as cool as, say, some of the other guys around town who are playing for blah 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 or whatever.
Yeah.
But I'm just thinking, well, and also that Vixen isn't maybe as big as a Skid Row, I guess, or a Motley Crue or those kind of bands or whatever. But it doesn't for me, it doesn't matter, because we have our fan base. It's a really rabid, loyal fan base.
Yeah.
And we have we got plenty of work that comes along. Obviously not right now, but and
Under normal conditions.
yeah, and we're playing with bands that I love, and
Yeah.
I don't. So I don't. There's not, and I'm playing with a bunch of good-looking women.
Yeah.
So it's like,
Absolutely.
I don't know what you guys think is not cool about my gig, because my gig is fucking awesome.
Right. She'd be a lot better than playing with a bunch of dudes.
Yeah, I mean, I've done it all. I've done that too and enjoyed it, but
Right.
it's
Right.
and it is different. It is kind of weird, because you're just like, well, I'm gonna leave the room to fart or
Yeah.
or whatever it is.
Yeah.
You gotta. Yeah, just
Yeah, you leave the room to fart, and then they all fart.
there's little things are kind of that you adjust your behavior
Yeah.
accordingly,
Right.
as opposed to if you're just hanging out with the dudes or whatever, I guess.
Right. Right.
But for the most part, it's just like every other gig. It's just a lot cooler than a lot of other gigs.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Hey, I want to know the funniest thing that's happened to you, either during a performance, maybe behind the scenes, even, since with your music career. But tell me something funny that has happened. Maybe it may not even be something that's funny
man.
to you. It may be funny to everybody else in the band. But tell me something. We love to hear those stories.
I don't know. Those stories are hard. Those are the kinds of things I need to be prepped on before, because it's hard for me to come up with stuff on the top of my head.
Yeah.
I mean, I've had some interesting incidents with people or whatever. And like, well, I was playing in Wichita, Kansas, and I had a speaker fall on my head in the middle of the last song, and I was playing guitar and kind of rocking out, and just it knocked me on my ass.
Oh, man.
And I went out in the stretcher with the neck thing and the whole thing, like all preventative measures or whatever. Spent
Right.
most of the evening in the ER, only to find out I was fine. It was
Yeah.
kind of scary to have this big old speaker that just wasn't mounted correctly just fall on my head.
Wow.
And then the band when we got back to the van vehicle, whatever, we had borrowed this Hummer from this guy, and we're pulling a trailer, and everybody else was too tired to drive because it was so late, and I'd kept everybody up. So I had, even though I'd been in a damn hospital all night, I had to drive that stupid thing all the way home, 3 hours home.
Oh, wow.
And that stupid Hummer was the biggest piece of shit because it had no power at all. So I'm like pulling a trailer, and I can't even get it over like 65 to get home. I was just miserable. It was
Wasn't a good night.
It wasn't a good night, but it's kind of a goofy story because it just, I don't know. For me, just picturing that, I was just like, God damn it, you guys.
Yeah.
What's going on right now?
Right.
You know, some funny things though, just kind of going back to the reputation stuff we were talking about earlier, is just like there've been a couple moments where I've worked with some guys that I had been given heads up from numerous people, like, oh, this guy's difficult, this guy's a pain in the ass, he's an asshole or whatever. And have actually found it to be completely the opposite. So, you know, when I was playing with Corey Taylor, we did Rockfest in Kansas City, and then we did Laserfest in Des Moines, Iowa the next day. And both shows Buck Cherry was on, and everybody was telling me what an asshole Josh Todd was, and how, you know, don't like, just avoid him, he's terrible, whatever. And he couldn't have been the nicest guy. Like,
Yeah.
he came up to me and he was like, "Hey man, you guys were great. Really enjoyed your show and whatever." And maybe it's because I was playing with Corey, I don't know, but he was super nice.
Yeah.
And then there was another time when I did a clinic for George Lynch, and I remember telling him, like, to be honest, man, I was a little bit intimidated and worried because everybody told me that you're kind of an asshole. And he was like, "Well, yeah, I was kind of an asshole for a long time, but I'm old, and man, all I care about now is I'm just happy that people still come to see my shows and still come to care
Yeah.
about my music." And
Right.
and that really sat well with me, because I think now, being in a band like Vixen, I think so many of us in all those bands, like on Monsters of Rock Cruises and all those kind of old bands, have that same feeling. Yes, there's a couple of guys that are still notoriously assholish to other people or whatever all the
Right.
time, but most of these guys I found to be really, really cool. And also the other thing is, like, the people that are the most successful, you know, the guys that play for Taylor Swift, or the guys that play for Garth Brooks, or the guys that play for those kinds of people,
Right.
are always the coolest people.
Right.
And I mean, I guess it's because they don't have anything to prove, maybe. And it's like they got the coolest gig ever, so they're
Right.
good.
Could be. Could be. Well, tell us, Tyson, what's coming up for you this year? What do you got going on?
Well, I don't know. Everything's up in the air right now.
Well, that's true.
You know, it's weird because we had the Rare Hair show that we were going to do a couple weeks ago got canceled, and that was going to be a benefit for tornado victims, and that's obviously not happening, or didn't happen. And then we also had another one that I was going to do in April, featuring a bunch of, like, I was trying to get a bunch of side that play for country acts and rock acts and whatever to come in and hopefully maybe even bring their celebrity whoever's to play. And that fell through. And then we've got some stuff in the summer that we're hoping to do, and hopefully, you know, Vixen has some dates that come in, but I think right now everybody's scared to book anything.
Right.
So
Yeah.
honestly, for me, like, I have to kind of be in this different mentality. I'm going to try to while this is happening, I'm just going to try to write as much music as I can and work on music with other people. That's something that you can do remotely.
Oh, yeah.
And that's, you know, especially with technology these days.
Yes, absolutely.
And so I'm going to do some of that. And then, like I said earlier, I'm hoping to try to write even if it's not a full record, even just get like an EP's worth of material out, 4, 5, 6 songs, something like that, of my own. And because it's just long overdue for me to have something new out there. And then I'm with all this stuff going on, I think I'm planning actually to start something very similar to what we're doing right now. It's just going to be called Rock Talk with Tyson Leslie, presented by Rare Hair, because I'm kind of trying to build that brand. As much as that sounds cheesy, that's the thing that you have to do.
No,
these days.
I'm all over that. Yeah.
So basically, I've been fortunate to have a lot of rock star friends now, and so I'm just going to reach out to them and talk to them about things just like we are.
Yeah.
Just to give people something else to watch other than Netflix or home concert videos. Which I've been really enjoying, though. I mean, it's really cool to get online and scroll through your feed and be like, look at all my friends are playing right now, and I can watch all of them, or I can watch Garth Brooks playing in his living room, or I can watch, like I was watching that Keith Urban thing today. Nicole Kidman's just dancing around in the background. It's so surreal and weird. And Tommy Shaw's like playing Styx songs to his dog. It's hilarious. So it's even though this is like scary and uncertain and kind of depressing, there's a lot of people doing some cool stuff that's keeping it from remaining depressing, I guess. It's fun and trying to uplift the spirits of other people. And I'm doing the same thing every night around midnight to like 1:00. I just sit here at the piano and I just play a bunch of songs until I'm too tired to play anymore. And I just pick a random stuff or ask people to, send me their requests, and I'll play whatever requests I can do if I know the songs. And then, I'm just calling it like my chill late night hour or whatever. And a lot of people have been tuning in. It's kind of interesting to see how many people are still awake at between 1 and 3 in the morning.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's been fun.
Hey, do you want to throw your social media out there?
Sure. I mean, all of my stuff is Tyson Leslie. So I'm blessed in the fact that I have a weird name, or a unique name anyway. So like Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, it's all just at Tyson Leslie. Now my Facebook music page is just Tyson Leslie Music.
Okay.
And that way, now that's the one that doesn't have limited numbers. Like on your personal pages, you're limited to like 5,000 people.
Right.
And I keep getting there, and then I keep going, well, who do I need to kick off? Should I post something that's going to piss a bunch of people off, and then I can, it's just it's
politics or religion, get them every time, man.
Every time. So, and I don't do that on my page. I keep my stuff really light. I either
vanilla.
Talk about, I mean, I either talk about something that's I think is funny, or I post something about music or whatever. I don't get involved in all that stuff because I don't care about any of it. I'm not a religious guy. Sorry. And I'm not into politics at all. In fact, I absolutely hate it. And I think it's divisive and unnecessary. I mean, it's a necessary evil, I suppose, maybe to a certain degree, whatever. I guess, we need governments and things like that. We need rules. Otherwise it'd just be anarchy. But at the same time, all the bullshit that goes along with it, I think, is absolutely abhorrent and horrible. So I just stay away from it. I don't engage at all. Every once in a while, I might throw a snarky comment in on somebody else, but that's about it.
Well, Tyson, it has been an honor. It's been a pleasure having you on the show. I knew you were a quality guy when I first met you, and you're still there, brother. So I tell you, we need to get together when we have a little bit more time. Yeah. Because this hour went very fast, so I'm gonna have to get you.
Thanks for having me, though.
Oh man, it's my pleasure, and we'll do it again because I imagine we're gonna be doing a lot more of these remote connections here, and maybe next time we'll get you to play live for us.
Yes. Okay, so we had a little work that out, but I've got everything set up, and you wouldn't even be able to hear it. You can't hear anything.
Right. Well, hang on a minute. I'm going to run through some final notes here, Tyson. Hang on one second. Okay, guys, besides my Tuesday and Thursday 7:30 p.m. live shows here at Vocal Studios, check out my weekly show in the Dallas Design District on Wednesdays from 7 to 8 p.m., 1523 Dragon Street, featuring singer-songwriters and those visual artists. Remember that all of my content is on YouTube. Just search for Barside Jive Live. I'd like to thank Jay and Jimmy, our production team, for all the hard work they do behind the scenes to make these shows possible, and I mean that, Jay. Guys, we are out of here. Thanks again for hanging out with Tyson and myself this evening. We appreciate your support of what we're doing here and hope that you'll share us with your friends, your family, your followers. And until next time, be kind to one another. Keep it real and keep on rocking. Now I'm going to play one more from Tyson Leslie. Is that okay, Tyson?
Yes, sir. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. We're going to play one more. And here he is right here, Tyson Leslie, here on Barside Jive Live.
Used to think
have mercy.
Gotta live fast, gotta stay young. Never gonna crash, never gonna learn.
That's BarsideJiveLive.com.